Hey YouTube, it's your boy Strictly Broken, the Penguin 420, Mr. Anime Man, Yui Peng, y'all know who I am. Got a lot of titles going on. Today, I'm gonna talk about the ban list, and I think I'm the first to post content on the ban list, so, hopefully that's kind of chill. Honestly, I'm going like no preparation. This is just candid, my for real thoughts. Not scripted or anything, so I'm just gonna say what I have on my mind. Nothing to stop the free flow of information. Y'all know what I'm saying? Sorry for not posting in a while though. Been sick, been busy, school. But yeah, hopefully schedule comes rolling again, and yeah, got some cards in my hand to so. What I love to do. Hopefully it won't distract you too much from the video, and let's get started. Ban list. Hits. 4 sets got hit. Kantai, Monogatari, CG, and Haruhi, which no one cares about, but it's on the list. I'm just gonna quickly go through the cards that actually got hit in case you live under a rock or something and actually don't know what got hit for some reason. So in Kantai, Inazuma and Z3 got hit onto the choose one of four, adding on to Hibiki and Hatsukaze, the anti-heal anti-salvage. And then they removed Akagi from that choose. So now it's a choose one of four between those four cards. I think there's a picture up. Maybe while I'm explaining this, I'll make it really easy to understand. For Monogatari, basically, before it was choose one of two between the Shinobu Bouncer card, the Mayoi. But now they added two more on it, so they added the Hanekawa 2-2, the stock charging card, and the card that when you have experience, it's either 3 or 4 or something, I frankly don't care, but you can basically get a free search ditch. And it's a global 5, so I had a lot of effects, highly overspec cards, but now it's a choose one of 4 list. For CG, they had to choose one of 3, it was the Riki, the Kome, and the Power of Smile, and now they added the Rinakatsuki, Rinazasa, to the choose one of 3 to make it a choose one of 4. Finally, they banned the Haruhi 2-0 counter that can pop a climax on the board, so you can stop those pesky Yami's Gochiusa finishers. Actually, you can't stop the first Gochiusa finisher, so yeah, anime. But just quickly, because I think we have to say something about this, and I'm just going to move on right after. The Haruhi event being banned, and their whole article that alluded to this a few months back, kind of grinds my gears a little bit, and no disrespect towards the company. But I think they're the guys who are thinking about what to say about hitting stuff, and their thoughts on that, it's just it's all over the place, man. There's no common opinion, because they keep printing non-interactive counterplay that goes against certain mechanics they develop in the game, like anti-heal, anti-salvage, anti-burn. In some decks, Yu is completely non-interactive if your opponent plays it well. Hibiki is non-interactive, and Hatsukaze and stuff can be winded, but there's still non-interactive downsides on the most part. And then when they have an interactive card that stops climaxes, which admittedly is a climax is super fundamental to the game, but this is a card that you can actually, it's an interactive counterplay, because you can side, you can often side a first character, get a burn effect off or something, and there's ways to kind of mitigate around this card. Machine of Ice actually stops it in one lane, and yeah, they just hit it. I mean, if you Machine of Ice let's say you have 2 Xenons, you Machine of Ice the first one, you can actually still do both Xenons, perfectly fine. Assuming they have another open slot, so you don't have to get wrecked, or you have 7 stock. But yeah, it just confuses me that they hit an interactive counterplay card, yet they let all the uninteractive ones just slide by. So that's just my 50 cents on this. Moving on to Kantai, I didn't necessarily feel Kantai was that strong. Certainly in different metagames and different perspectives, you might feel differently. I know these 3 decks that got hit are really big in Japan, and Japan is largely where they base their ban list on, like the Japan metagame, which that's a separate issue that we'll sweep under the rug for now. But yeah, they base most of this ban list on their Japanese player base and their Japanese performance. So Kantai, I didn't feel like it was oppressive. I felt like it really, it really needed. There's certain things that go well for them to do well, and like if you push them to one and they haven't built two stock and they can't get that first +1, it's actually like they kind of like uphill battle a little bit, right? Because their resources are limited. Their back row is actually very fixed, but honestly, I think the hits don't change the deck too much. I mean, the Ricky being gone, not the Ricky, but the Inazuma being gone, hurts their consistency, just like everyone has said. I think you still pick Z3. You can honestly make Amagi builds. I like the Amagi a lot. I just thought there was no place in it because the Z3 back row was like a really good back row and it really integrated well with the deck. But like you can try some Amagi based content builds now and like people would be open to trying them because you don't have to play this really fixed Z3 back row. Like you don't have to. You can pick like you can still pick Inazuma and just try out Amagi. I'm certainly trying that out. In terms of Monogatari, once again, like all three of these decks, I don't actually think they're super crazy. They're just really popular in Japan because Japan really likes playing compression-based decks, which all three of these decks do really well at. I mean, the 2-2 and the Global are both really over-spec. Same as the Mayoi, same as the Shinobu. Well, Shinobu's like less so over-spec, but it kind of interacts really well with their over-spec cards. Like, Monogatari just got like hella pumped because it was so bad, right? And they printed all these overspec cards. Maybe they shouldn't have made cards so overspec, but you really can't move a game forward without printing overspec cards, expecting them not to perform like really, really well. I think the 2-2, if you resolve 2 in a game, you probably won the game, which was like a problem because that's just really, really insane. Like if a card can resolve twice, it just outright wins you the game. You go from 6 stock at the start of the turn to ending the turn with like 9 stock, and then after if you do it again, you somehow the next turn have 18 stock. That's a lot of stock building, like a lot of stock building. So I see the problem with that. Finally, for CG, it's just like I always tell people it's the most consistent deck you can ever play. You will always do everything you want to do. I've never seen a reasonably well versed and well skilled CG player not do the things the deck intends to do. Adding the Azusa on, I think, like it still affects the consistency. You don't get to do as much milling, and now that both Kome and Azusa are both on, it's like you don't really mill as much. You just have the mill 5 brainstorm. But if you still want to play TP Rin, that is. TP Rin was also just like a really, really like easy to do 7 stock. You could just finish on them like type of card. And that was a problem, I think. But yeah, I don't actually know how this choose 1 of 4, like the way it's structured now, will actually change the deck. I think like if you just still play TP just without Azusa, without Kome, and just accept the fact that you can't mill as much, maybe that's the way. I don't know. Now for some more like. That's just my thoughts on the actual hits. Like really brief, like I actually I've played like a few games with all the decks, but I don't main any of them. I'm not like an expert on them, but I definitely know how to play very reasonably against them. That's part of being a good player. You know how to play well against them, right? I don't play them myself. I don't know the intricate details. But some more like conceptual things now. I think my honest thought that these 3 decks being hit, I don't think it changed any of my impressions on what the top 5 metagame decks looks like. Like I think I placed TP at 5, but I don't even place Kantai or Monogatari in my top 5. I don't think they're good decks. I think they're good decks, but I don't think they're great best 5 decks type of thing. And like I'll just say it right now straight up. I know there's like a drunk video that got deleted, but straight up my list right now, post ban list, best deck, Gochiusa, second, Tuloveru, third deck, Noki Holmes, fourth deck, 765, and fifth deck, it was TP right now, but now that TP is not in reasonable placement, I think the fifth deck, for me personally, might be Sal. And Sal, this is kind of like wishful thinking. I just wanted to get like one more good card to sort of push it over the top in the new re-edit, right, coming out. But yeah, that's my top five. So there you go. And like these decks only TP placed in it before, and TP it was only because I think the deck was so insane because it just always did what it got to do. And now, really, it still can do what it got to do, but it just doesn't have as much mill. Like the deck is still functionally the same. It just doesn't have an Azasa anymore. So what does that mean? Like you're just playing. You might have to play a drop search, or you might have to. I don't know what it will entail, but like if you want to play Power of Smile Finisher, your deck doesn't actually die. Like it doesn't actually die. It's still as good of a deck, and it still does what it wants to do the same way as before. Like I don't know what tier it'll drop to, but it's still the deck. It still does the deck what the deck wants to do, right? Like I just don't understand what people are trying to get at. MG, like probably people are gonna play Shinobu level 1 based builds. And then choose to play. I think you play the bouncer now. You might play the bouncer actually. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know what people are gonna play. Maybe they'll still keep trying to do 2/2 Hanakawa things. But now that you can't stack Mayoi, you don't have like a good explosive finisher turn. It's whatever. And then Kantai kind of got hit the least. Like it still does everything it's got to do. Like if you play an Amagi based build, you have like flexibility of choosing like what you want to do with that Amagi deck. I personally would play Shimakaze in my Amagi deck. It's the one deck that out of all these decks I played the most of Amagi based Shimakaze decks. But Z3 decks barely get hit. I mean, all you have to do is just play more. Because what's so great about Inazuma is it promotes you to make aggressive early game pushes like tri-fueling, dual laning, and just blowing resources to recover them quick. It lets you just basically push damage while staying ahead in resource, right? And now that it's gone, you just play a more conservative zero game, and you still lead into the same game plan as always. It's not different. So yeah, and finally, I just want to like touch on what I said earlier, that this ban list is so influenced by a Japanese player base, and that's why I think these decks get hit so much. I think if Bushiroad took into account like the entire player base, I think TP didn't need to get hit. I think MG. I don't know if MG needed to get hit. I think MG could have done something more elegant with MG. I don't think this is the most elegant option for it. I think this leaves the set kind of brittled, right? And I think Kante didn't need to get hit at all. I think Kante was just fine the way it was. But they just look at the top 3 decks being played in Japan. And being played is like a super... Like, what does that even mean, being played? Does that mean the deck is good? Like, these decks are just really, really popular in Japan, too, and people overplay them. They're good decks. They're fantastic decks, but the reason why they're performing so well is, like, if you have a tournament of 50 people, and 25 are playing CG, obviously you're going to expect, like, 10, 15 CGs to top, because 25 of the people are playing the deck. Like, I think people realize that, too, by now. But, like, Japan clearly takes the performance of a certain deck and takes it and overemphasizes its meaning and its strength on the deck. Like the only reason CG for me I think is topping as much is because everyone plays it. If everyone played Tuloveru in Japan, I think Tuloveru would top probably at a higher number than CG because I think it's a better deck. So yeah, I think the way they analyze these ban lists is super, super weird to me. I think if Bushiroad wanted to make more constructive, community-driven ban lists in the future, they really should take into account a lot more metagames. But keep in mind, when I say that, they still need to take into account the Japanese metagame. A lot of people are like, oh, Osomatsu's OP, 2 of the 4 decks in top 4 in US Nationals was Osomatsu. It might have been 3. I think it was 3. Was it 3? If it was 3 or 2, I don't remember. But like, so like think about it. If Bushiroad took North American results the same way they did for this ban list, Osomatsu probably would have been hit. The combo probably would have been hit to like 2 or something, or like I don't know what the deck, how they would hit Osomatsu, or like choose one of 3 of level 1 Osomatsu card, level 3 heal the stock card, and like some other garbage. But Osomatsu is like, it's a solid deck, but it's not fantastic. It's just different meta games like to play different things, and there's a higher player base pool count, and like I think Also, Osamatsu in that tournament had the comparative advantage of people not actually knowing what everything did, and not it being the more rogue deck, sort of went into the field at a comparative advantage. Um, but yeah, Bushiroad, like I don't know if you watch this, you probably don't. This is mainly for the players. I think Banlist should have a holistic kind of approach and look at all communities, not just your own, because clearly this one looked at only at your own. Um, And yeah, I mean, these three decks, I guess the last note I want to end on is like these three decks. They're all compression decks, right? And this really goes to show what Oceanic and Asian communities really like to play. Like, they really do like their compression decks. Take my word for it, they really do. While I notice in America, when I talk to a lot of the Americans, they really focus on the end game. Look, this end game is strong. This deck must be good, right? Um, So there's actually a difference in perspective. So these three decks being hit and them all being like decks that focus on getting compression is like not like focus on getting hyper compression actually. Like every deck aims to get some form of compression. These decks all hyper compress, and that just goes to show like what Japan likes, right? Um, I'm curious to see if Gochiusa is going to be the most represented deck coming into the new meta game because I think that's the best deck. I think Gochiusa is insane. I think Goshusa is really, really good, and some people don't see it that way, but I think they just need to kind of be more like you can have your opinion just like I have my opinion, but I just think like it's almost like Goshusa is just so good, so insane. But yeah, that's my thoughts. Super like not super organized, but yeah, I mean honestly, this video more than anything is to incite discussion. So honestly, leave a comment when I post this to the forums. You know, comment, definitely have discussion, flame the shit out of me. You know, I want to have discussion about this because I don't think we do enough of this where a guy who's competent at playing the game is actually out there and having like a reasonable discussion. A lot of people have very oppressive discussions where it's like I'm right, you're wrong type of thing. But I'm just here trying to like let's talk about this ban list and let's talk about it. Maybe Bushido will even notice us. I don't know, but yeah. Honestly, leave a comment, drop a like, drop a dislike. You know, I appreciate all of it. And obviously, continue to subscribe to the channel. Check out the videos. Love you guys. Strictly Broken signing off. Peace.